Yes, guys, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy Dave. As we for your match day live as we take on West Ham this evening, the Clarets and Blue, the Bubble enthusiast, the Barney Dinosaur enthusiast, and I cannot wait. It's an absolute big one today, and I hope absolutely everybody is up for it. And oh baby, do I wish me and Jack were leading out that team just like that intro video. But as you can see, we are joined by the one and only co-host of the channel, Jack, and then also THFC Till I Die in Philip and Dermatron. The two of them are back in action, two peas in a pod. But we'll start with Jack, as always. How are you, my man?
Feeling good, Dave. It's a funny game, I think, West Ham, where, we have lots of, small digs that, I bet, Philip is especially, quite good at, from time to time, as well as yourself, Dave. It's a bit of an Irish Hotspur derby, as you like to say. And plenty of people are saying, hammer the hammers, pop the bubbles. So many good taglines for today. And let's just hope that the boys deliver one of those taglines for us so we can just rein it in and just once again sort of celebrate what usually ends up being, a good result for Spurs. But, maybe these low blocks of West Ham and those sort of things could, pose a challenge. But I'm looking forward to it because sometimes these end up being, pretty big and, fun sort of score lines. It was, in fact, my even first experience of seeing Spurs, in person. And I got to witness a big 3-1. And so I hope to see something similar today, on the watch long, as well as, build ourselves up to it. I'm sure, we'll find a way to be hyped up at some stage to give a 3-1 or a 4-1 prediction.
Jack, I remember that day in question. I mean, Romero absolutely had Antonio in his pocket. He had David Moyes wrestling with him to try and get him out after the game. But Philip, welcome, my man. We take on the Rubber Hammers tonight. You excited?
Yeah, I mean, after the sort of the ups and downs of the City games, and the City game on Sunday, and what I'm wanting tonight is the first 20 minutes of the Villa game, but with the scoreboard ticking in our favour. Because I think if we can start like we did against the Villa, we'll probably blow these guys away. Having Romero back is going to be so important to the team. But but they'll be up for it though. It'll not be an easy match, but I think we should have enough to get past the Hammers. They're not great on the road. So
no, but it is a horrible evening out there. I was just watching Chris Calvin live on Sky Sports a little while ago. To him and Michael Bridges were absolutely drowned. But no, I agree with you, Philip. It would be nice to get the scoreboard ticking over nice and early this evening. Dermatron, how are you, my man?
I feel like Tottenham tonight are the god of smashing hammers. You've got Thor, the god of lightning. You've got Zeus, who's lightning. And Tottenham are the god of smashing hammers. We're going to go tonight, smash some hammers, burst some bubbles, and send Barney the Dinosaur back to Soho into a nightclub with Camilla. And then we can leave him alone down for the rest of the week. So come on, you Spurs. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait for this one. Let's welcome in some people in the chat and see who's here joining us this evening ahead of the big game. We had Dan Davenport, big up, Dave, and the Harris Army, big up, Dan. Great to see you, my man. Georgie Hill is with us. Big yourselves up, lads. Hope you're keeping well. Irish Hotspur Derby Day. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Told the boss I'm leaving early today. Can't miss us smack these bubble blowers all game long.
Legend,
Come
George.
on, boys. Absolutely love that, George. Imperative that you get off early, my man. Imperative. If not, just send the boss into the chat. We'll have a little word with him ourselves and make sure you get home early. Big up, Georgie Hill. Who else have we got in here? We've got Derek Hutchinson. Big up, Dave and Jack. Let's burst some bubbles tonight. Come on, you Spurs. Just quickly, I was only telling the boys beforehand, I did have a little stunt planned for the watch along today, but it sort of fell through. The printer shop downstairs wasn't open today. I don't know why, actually. I need to go down and speak to him tomorrow. I'll have to say, really let me down, because I was hoping to get the West Ham press printed off and then rip it up and eat the paper when we scored. But looks like that won't be happening tonight. So I do apologize on that. Neil Shafton says, let's layeth the hammer down and bash the bubble blowing EastEnders down in the table as we rise like the phoenix from the ashes. Absolutely love that, Neil Shafton. Absolutely love it. They're only pigeon food, my man. Pigeon food is what they are. Big up, Jazzy Fusion. Sky is correct. Absolutely love that. We have Tom Tucker up the Spurs. Let's hammer the hammers. Irony that would be, wouldn't it, Tom? Mark P. Eden, everyone, come on, you Spurs, 3-1. We also have Hit the Bar. Come on, Spurs. Let's burst them bubbles. Davey Hoss says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, everybody. And Flat Cap Crew. Big up, my man. Benjamin Forster. Hi, Irish. Long time no see. Big up, Benjamin. good to see you in, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well, Benji boy. We have Malware 13. Let's go. Big up, Malware. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have Donovan Oosterreicher. A little pre-match gym pump up. Let's get it, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love that, Donovan.
Come on, Donovision. Legend. Absolutely love
great
that.
name. George Caradas says, let's go, Spurs. Big up, my man. Effing Hall. Guys, hope we're all good, excited for tonight. That we are absolutely excited. We also have Mick Hermlock. Good evening, Jack, Dave, Philip, and Dermot. Good to see you in. We also have Tekken in with us. Big up, crew. Great to be here for the build-up. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go. We have Martin Knightsbridge all the way from sunny Spain. We're absolutely shivering our timbers off over here, my man.
Legend.
Evening, lads. Have a great show. You're not joining us tonight, Martin. You're not joining us tonight, big man. Hopefully you're keeping well, though, lad. We also have Moondog in the building. Good evening, lads. 4-1 to us and Johnson to score. What price did you get on it, Moondog? I know you definitely have it on. I have Johnson now to score first and Son to score any time.
Yeah,
Jack, what did you end up going with?
Was it Johnson to score first for Moondog as well, or was it Johnson to score any time? Moondog, I think you
Johnson to score first.
I think it's Johnson to score first, and he has been doing that. As I sort of wanted to say to you guys, maybe I say to others, I kind of don't really like, putting, any bets on Spurs, because then I think, when I see Sonny then threw on goal, I'm like, don't square it, don't square it, get, get the goal. And I just don't really want it to get over the line no matter what. But I know Moondog, he has better principles than I do. He's a stronger man than me. And I would say, Spurs could score early. If anybody's feeling, that we could come out the gates quite quickly, I would say I saw some good odds on Spurs scoring early. So if you ever want to go extra sort of crazy, maybe consider that, maybe go Johnson to score or maybe Spurs to score early, because that's what feels like that's how Johnson's been scoring is, when we kind of overwhelm teams straight away.
Jacko's all over it. He's had that feeling all day. So if that happens, you need to listen to Jack next week. Just like you need to listen to Dermot tonight, by the way, Pat Whelan, if you're in the chat. But big up, Moondog. Really appreciate the support. We also have...
hope you're doing well.
We also have O2C. Good to see you in the building. Hopefully you're keeping well. Scotty Heinem is with us. Big up to all. Come on, you Spurs. Jason Bell is with us. Big up, everyone. I'll be working through the game, but I will have a screen dedicated to it. Like I said, anyone that's working, get your boss to come in here and we'll have a little word with them and make sure you get some time off. We also have Cat Spur, Aussie. Come on, you Spurs. Guys, love that. Big up, Cat Spur. Mark is with us as well. Easy win tonight. We also have Chris Hooray. Evening, all Bordeaux Spurs. Big up the Bordeaux Spurs. Hopefully you're keeping well. Then we have Bjorn Wandel. Tonight, the floodgates are about to open, expecting a big win for us. I really do hope so, my man. And then we also have Cocorazzo Chale. I mean, absolutely unbelievable the pronunciation.
You can't do that again, Try to do that again. That was impressive.
Talk about knocking that out of the park. Unbelievable. Oh, good evening, guys. I will say I was wrong for changing our formation just because we don't have the players, but we still got a result. Absolutely. Look, this is what Ange is here to do. Players have to learn to play a manager's way for once instead of their way, because their way clearly wasn't working. Martin's Knightbridge is with us. Good to see you. Adiz Hamid as well. Great to see you. Afternoon, guys. Kois. And then Tot943. Big up, Dave and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Alberto, good evening, gentlemen. West Ham get battered everywhere they go. Hopefully we'll be having that going nice and loud after the game, my man. Spurs GCTV. Good evening, guys. Let's do this. Come on, you Spurs. Good evening, my man. And then Paddy Harnett is also with us. Evening, gents. Hope you're well. We need to win tonight. Nothing else would be acceptable. I agree with you. Not even a draw. Wouldn't be happy with it. We're 3 games now, or 4 games without a win. It would be nice to get back on the winning pile, my man. Then we also have One Love, my man, and also Rick C. Good to see you in the building. And then Dark Sung G is also with us. As always, good to see you, Dark Sung G. He says, Happy Cutie is back for his favorite meal of hammers. Also, Son loves a goal versus them. I feel we can go on a winning streak. Come on, you Spurs. Did you see City loses? Laughing my ass off. I mean, look, Philip, we'll come down to you just quickly first on the reaction of Man City losing last night on a bit of a spiral.
I'm not surprised. I mean, Villa are unbeaten. I think 13 home wins on the bounce now, which is something else, really. And they've come under the radar a bit. So I'm not surprised that Man City lost, because I think we softened them up on Sunday and Villa finished off the job last night. But City are not performing on all cylinders. Like I've been saying that for weeks. You keep thinking every game, this is it. But I tell you, Pep must be a bit worried. That's his worst run ever, I think, as a manager. They haven't won in 4 matches. So well done to Villa now. I think Villa are now going to be a potential very big threat for the top 4 to keep this up.
Makes it even more important to win tonight. You know, and look, what I would say is, you know, hopefully Liverpool can keep tabs with Arsenal for a little while until City can get themselves going again. But Jack, a bit of a stat for you. I know you love stats. Sonny has scored, I think, 5 and assisted 3 in his last 8 Premier League home games against West Ham. Sonny Dark Son G says Son loves a goal versus them. Is he going to step up tonight? Is my bet going to come in? Sonny, anytime goal scorer?
I mean, it definitely should. And my funniest thing with Sonny is I feel like we hear that with so many teams, though, that I'm starting to lose track, you know, which teams he actually doesn't have those sort of stats, you know, against, it feels like. Because everybody's like, even when you ask rival fans, they're always sort of like, yeah, Sonny really seems to always sort of score against us. And I'm trying to find one fan base that feels like, you know, they have actually locked up shop, you know, in some type of form against him. But Sonny, for sure. I think is definitely, you know, somebody that could score a worldie of some kind, you know, against a team like West Ham. I think I've seen him in person, you know, score, in fact, against them, you know, running him behind. And I could see maybe like a left-footed curler. He's almost better with the left these days than he even is with the right. That's how, you know, funny he is. He's starting to almost train those better than he is his stronger foot originally. And when it comes to Cudi Romero as well, Dark Sun G, I must say it's going to be just a blessing to have him back. And I kind of I agree that, you know, he seems to play well against West Ham. I've seen in person him have a terrific game. I think he's switched over to the black boots, you know, from time to time when he comes up against the bubble blowers. He seems to really, you know, take it personally coming up against them. He had that one moment even with Fonseca, I think it was, right? Or whatever his name was. That one sort of player, Fornals, not Fonseca, Fornals, right? And he had that terrific sort of a tackle on him and then whispered a few maybe Spanish somethings into his ear. I absolutely love Romero when he comes up against the bubble blowers, Dark Sun G. And then hopefully Sonny can be the assassin like we know he can.
Oh, I really do hope so. Big up Dark Song G, my man. And Wang scored again the other day for Wolves. You know, he's starting to find a bit of form, Dark Song G. That must be good for you, my man. He also says, Dermatron, I hope to see Giovanni Lo Celso, Son Johnson, Richie, Pierre-Emile Hoybjerg score today. Come on, you Spurs. Out of all them scores, bar Son, because we know he's going to score, which other one's going to step up today?
I would love Hoybjerg to get a goal today. I think his performances deserve a goal. I'd love to get one just in front of the South Stand. And let's show him some appreciation. Let's show him some love. He is the Danish destroyer. We all know that. And just a little stat for you here, Dave. Tottenham, since 2018, have only lost 3 games to West Ham. We're unbeaten in our last 4, 3 wins and a draw. And we've, I think it's 9 games. Around 9, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins, 2 draws, and 3 defeats since 2018 against West Ham. So we've got a very good record for the last couple of years. And unbeaten in our last 3 as well. And our last 4, Dave. 3 wins and a draw. So look, tonight is all a Spurs win and Hoybjerg have score in front of the South Stand. Come on, Hoybjerg, do not let me down.
I'd love a banger in front of the South Stand. If Ellie's there, you know, I'd worry for Ellie, you know, if she was there, if Hoybjerg banged one in from the South Stand like that. I would also say, Dark Sun G, Giovanni Lo Celso scored in these last 2 games outside the box. Can he be around there again and pick up another strike today, my man? Let me know who you're going with out of them names. He's gone with 5 goals. I don't know about that, Dark Sun G. He could be right. I'm thinking today would be more of a frustrating game. Although I think we'll beat them 3-1. I think it'll be very frustrating. But you're obviously going for a hammer in, which I absolutely love. The enthusiasm, my man. Big yourself up and really appreciate the support. King Huddle says, afternoon, I'm expecting to win tonight, and anything less will leave me deflated. Absolutely agree with that, man. Wembley 1, good evening, sir. He says, afternoon, boys. The team left everything out on the pitch on Sunday evening. I just hope we are fully recharged for another blood thunder encounter tonight. Yeah, look, we're going to have a conversation about that just in a little while, man, about, you know, whether we make rotation tonight, whether we make rotation versus Newcastle on Sunday, because from Sunday to Sunday, that's 3 games in 7 days, which is an absolute mammoth ask of any team. So be interesting to see if there will be any changes at all, my man, but big yourself up. Good to see you in the building. Martin Nicebridge says, my boy is in hospital. Give him a big Irish big up, mate. Well, look, first of all, I'm very sad to hear that. You know, I don't like anybody being in hospital in and around Christmas time. But hopefully everything is as good as can be, and hopefully you make a speedy recovery and get yourself out and back over to Spain for Christmas is what I would say. You know, with the father, and spend time with the family, my man. But I do wish you big, you know, absolutely full health, and I've no doubt everyone else in the chat will. Everyone, big up Martin Knightbridge, son, and wish him full recovery. Jack, anything you want to say quickly?
No, really well said, Dave, actually. And like you said, they're not a good time to, be around the hospital, I think, this time of the year. Hopefully he can, recover quickly and have a speedy recovery and join you maybe at some stage in Spain for something, Martin, and, be able to, kick back, put on the sandals and, sort of take some time up to you. And yeah, praying for a speedy recovery for him so he can spend time with you and the family.
Big up, Martin, and big up the young lad as well. Hopefully, all will be good. You mentioned sandals there, Jack. I thought Philip was about to come, head back on his cruise. He was getting withdrawal symptoms there when you mentioned sandals. Absolutely love it. Val Taylor says, "Good evening, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to bursting those bubbles with a big win for our beloved Spurs. Let's go." Like Philip said earlier on, no pun intended. Let's blow them away. Absolutely love that. Just a harmless potato. Good to see you, Shem 10. Big up to the Fantastic Four. Let's beat these so-called champs of Europe Toilet Bowl League. And just showing us it's not about players. It's about the system. It's why we still play good. Come on, you Spurs. I agree with that to a certain extent, but you still need the correct players to play the system to make it absolutely 100% successful. The players do matter. But what I will say is, even though we haven't won in 4 games, the performances have been there. It's just the same old sort of mistakes, maybe mentality that's sort of coming back to haunt us when the games are good and tight, my man. But look, definitely it is about the players as well, for sure it is. Otherwise, Ange Postecoglou wouldn't have sold some in the summer, would he? Big up, Dark Sun G says Newcastle without Pope will be a win today. Come on, you Spurs, Jack. Newcastle without Nick Pope, does that give us a lot more belief heading into that game?
What do you have, like a dislocated shoulder or something like that? Or he might have to undergo surgery. That even happened to my brother, actually, Dark Sun G, and it's a really long recovery from it. Especially, dislocating anything does not feel good. And I think in the way that he must have done it too is sort of not natural. So it's not like you can just sort of pop it back in or anything like that. It's not an easy thing to be going through. So could be the case that he's out for a long time. They have like Dubravka as sort of the backup. I've heard rumors like it could be like De Gea, like they could sign on like a free or something like that. And I think it does show that there could be some weaknesses in that Newcastle team, because Nick Pope, at the end of the day, he's just good at making crack saves and is good from set pieces, just has, that sort of presence about him that's hard to get past. But if they have somebody like Dubravka or whatever they might have next, I would just say, yeah, fire away. And guys like Sonny, maybe other players in the team, I would say just get the green light, just to shoot as much as you can. And I have a sneaky suspicion, actually, Everton, if they're up for it, and maybe if Calvert-Lewin's in the team, they could probably give them a good game then if Pope's not in goal, of course.
Yeah, you did say earlier on, I think, that you're expecting a Sean Dyche masterclass. Let's see what happens.
I love a good Dyche masterclass. Yeah, Dark Sanjay.
Let's see what happens, my man. We also have Wee Man's World. Hoybjerg won't score. More chance. Gill will score. I'd love Gill to score. Don't get me wrong. I'd absolutely love it.
Either are great.
I'd absolutely love it. Big up, Big D says, big up, lads. Had an awful week last week. My dad passed away suddenly, age 52. He was a big Spurs fan. Really looking forward to the match tonight. Come on, you Spurs. First of all, my man, really, really, really sorry to hear that. Look, it's going to be a tough period over the next few months. My missus actually went through that. She lost her father young as well. A very, very sort of tough period to get through. But what I will say is, is that your father will want you to live the life the right way. Continue on living the way he wants you to live it, and always keep his memory with you. And I'm really sorry to hear that, my man. Absolutely sad news, but. And also, if you need anything, my emails are always open. People know that, I'll drop you my number and we can communicate, even if you just need someone to talk to or that, my man. But I'm sorry to hear that, my man. But, you just got to keep going, my man. And, keep his name, shine it in the best of lights that you can. Big D is what I would say to that. Anyone else want to say anything to Big D there? Very, very sad news.
And look, everyone from our side as well, we send our deepest condolences. Look, I lost my dad at 24. So, look, Davies right. You got to live your life the way your dad wants you to and keep his name shining. So if you need anything, you can always get hold of me and Philip also by deepest condolences. And let's get a win tonight for your dad tonight.
Absolutely. A big win for your dad tonight now. That'll make, feel... I know it's a small thing when you lose your father. A match is not important. But for a big Spurs fan who's gone to heaven, a win would be a big boost for your family.
Yeah, and I as well, our condolences, Big D, and also maybe he gave you plenty of good Spurs memories, as well, of course, maybe he even sort of introduced you to Spurs or introduced you to Tottenham as well. So we're going to miss him. I think, there's probably a lot of people even maybe who knew him around sort of the Spurs community in general as well. A lot of people will sort of feel his loss. So sorry about that. And like Dave said earlier, it's, I don't really know what to say. And, I hope that you can find different ways to sort of get through each, day at a time. But definitely it's going to be felt in a lot of different ways. I'm sorry.
I'd also add, Big D, he's bestowed the best gift possibly to you, which is Spurs. Through whatever you're going through in life, your highs, your lows, a football club, especially when it's Tottenham Hotspur, it's always going to be with you through all your highs and lows. So I would say he has left you with the best gift that he possibly can, my man, and hopefully we get a good win tonight in his honour, brother. Big up, Big D. And there's also a lot of love in the chat for you as well there, my man. Really tough time, especially this time of the year. Very sorry to hear the news, but make sure you, that surname, make sure that shines in lights, my man. Big yourself up. Shawnee Maddox also says, Dave, is that a newer retro kit or one you have had for a while? It looks awesome. No, look, I wear this all the time, my man. It's probably just whiter than white than usual. I had to get it, I had to send it down to the dry cleaners to get this one ready for West Ham tonight, my man. It's just whiter than usual, I'd probably say. But no, I've had this one. Do you know what, actually? It's actually my dad's. He gave it to me, I think, about a year ago. And, he's had a couple of jerseys from his time and stuff like that and passed it down to me. And I absolutely love it, my man. It's my favorite jersey. I'm actually trying to get my hands on the blue one and the yellow and blue one that Paul wears as well.
I love the yellow one.
Yeah.
I love that yellow one.
I'd absolutely love the full set, so I would. But Shawnee Maddox, definitely not new, my man. But look, we are going to crack into it. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know for this evening. And then we are going to crack on and get some talking points flowing. Now, to start with, of course, the game is at the best stadium in world football, and that is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. tonight. Bit of a late one. So make sure everyone stays awake for that. Set your alarms. Probably no drinking tonight if you've got work tomorrow, no drinking on a school night. Referee is Michael Salisbury. So if anything goes wrong, we know exactly who we need to pinpoint. So I'm going to leave that up there for just a second, just so you can write that name down and get the correct spelling. In the VAR room, we have John Brooks. Hopefully it's not John Crooks tonight. Hopefully he does a decent job. And then also, if you want to watch the game, bit of a weird one for us this week, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. I haven't a clue how to get it, so don't ask me. I've got Amazon, but I never get live games on it. So, but that's where you can watch it in the UK and Ireland. In the USA, it's on NBC Sports Network. In Australia, Up the Sports. And in Canada, it's on Football TV. Dermo, you had your hand up, my man?
Yeah, it's also on Premier Sports 1 in Ireland as well.
Oh, they're showing it?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, just check that. They are showing.
Yeah, it's on Premier Sports 1 as well.
Nice one, Dermo, coming in, saving my skin there. I had loads of people about to slay me, Dave. Come on, tell me where we get it. And then, look, I know this is absolutely horrible, but we've a long injury list. Van de Ven out the hamstring, Madison out with the ankle, which we're going to touch on a bit later on. Madison's timeline compared to the medical department's timeline don't really add up. Bentancur out with the ankle, Solomon out with the meniscus, Perisic out with his ACL, Ses Young out with the hamstring. We've seen videos of him back in training, probably another 3 years before we see him back in action. Sarr, of course, is out today, but Postecoglou expects him to be back in time for Newcastle. Dyer, miraculously, whenever we sort of have options at centre-back, he seems to get an injury, and he's picked up another one, a groin injury. And Ashley Phillips still out with the ankle. And West Ham only have one injury to contend with. Might make the bench, might not tonight, and that is Mikel Antonio. So as you can see, we've got a very, very long injury list. But look, let's crack into it. Let's get some talking points out there. We'll start with you, Jack. Tottenham host bitter rivals West Ham. Actually, we'll start with you, Philip. You love this one. Tottenham host bitter rivals West Ham today in the London Derby, which is actually West Ham's cup final. We know they've been gearing up to it all week. They've got the parade booked, the bus booked. So hopefully we can spoil that tonight. But what is it you love most about this fixture? Why is it such a rivalry?
Well, the thing I look forward to most is beating them for a start, as we usually do. I don't know. Like, we don't regard them as rivals, really. They're a London team and it's a London derby, but they're not in the same league as Chelsea and Arsenal. And when it comes to the local derby match, like, they're the two big ones for Spurs fans. But for West Ham fans, for some reason, they think that this is the biggest game of the season. I'm just wondering, are they expecting Spurs to give them a guard of honour onto the pitch tonight after they won that cup last season? You know, they'll be sorely disappointed if they are, you know. But yeah, no, I like most of the games I've seen against West Ham. We tend to dominate them at home, and I think tonight, again, hopefully, actually the one injury they've got, I'm glad he's not playing, because that Antonio guy can give us trouble. He's done it in the past, so I hope he's not in it. But it just shows you the difference, doesn't it? They've got a clean bill of health. We've got half the team missing, or more than half the team missing. Yet we're still expected to go out and win. Full team out, no contest completely. We'd hammer them. Pardon the pun. Tonight we'll win, but it won't be as easy as it has been in other years. I think 2-1, 3-1 maybe.
I really do hope so, Philip. You know, looking at the injury list, it looks like we're the ones with Europe and still in the Carabao Cup to contend with.
Honest to God, yeah.
It's madness. Absolute madness. Big up, Big T as well. Great to see you in the building as always, sir. Tron, what does this fixture mean to you? Why is it such a rivalry, my man? What's your favourite thing about this fixture?
It was where I made my debut on this channel in the watch long when we played them at the London Stadium about 3 years ago. I remember in the UK you needed a co-host, and I came on. That was my debut for watch-alongs, was this game. I think it means more to West Ham than it does to us, to be fair. Yeah. I don't think it's a big game, but look, it's a London derby, and you want to win a London derby. You don't want to give them any bragging rights at all. And that's for their trophy. Look, a pub team can win that if they actually took it seriously, to be fair. I mean, we could have won it if we took it seriously, but we didn't take it seriously. So,
well, if David Dean allowed us, was Arsenal interference?
Yeah. Well, we know where that's going to go, Dave. We know there's brown paper bags and money being passed when Arsenal are involved. We all know that. I mean, but look, tonight is a game we have to win. We got a point on Sunday. We have to back it up with a win tonight. If we can get 6 points at the next two games, I think we're banging the title race again. If we pick up anything less than that, then we're banging the Champions League race. But we've got to get a win tonight. We've got to send out a sort of intentment of we're here. We're going to be around here. We're going to beat you. And we're going to show you why. It's a big game tonight. And I think we're going to win 4-0. I think we're just going to roll over them. Ange will send them players out with a point to prove tonight. He'll have them there, like, ready to go. Come on, let's go and burst some bubbles. And where's Barney the dinosaur? I want to kick him up the arse.
I love that. Look, for me, it's Lasagna Gate. I mean, you know, back then, you know, they stopped us from qualifying for Champions League. You know, I think that's was one of their hotels where the chef, you know, poisoned the lasagna. And, you know, we had to play them half sick, and then they stopped us from getting in the Champions League. So that one really irks me. But Jack, you know what does this one mean to you, my man?
I guess it's sort of, like I sort of maybe touched on earlier, my first ever like real experience of, you know, Spurs in general. I'm glad it was West Ham because it felt like, there was some sort of rivalry to it, some sort of kind of intensity between the sides. Like, you know, even if there wasn't much to play for the game. At the time, the one I went to, there really was actually kind of was a crucial game and sort of us challenging for top four and kind of, you know, pushing underneath Antonio Conte. And it was actually a lot of games that we had to sort of win in a row. And it's kind of sort of started with that West Ham game, if I sort of recall. And I remember that was sort of the catalyst for a lot of good other performances afterwards. And I was really lucky to have seen that. But like I said, you know, it's even if there wasn't much to play for, or even if it was, you know, kind of the first game of the season or anything like that, it's always, I think, kind of been definitely one of the more, maybe not the highest class of, you know, kind of quality of players all the time, maybe especially in West Ham's case in certain sort of years. But it's always had a lot of intensity and a lot of meaning behind it for certain fans. And I like playing West Ham just because it feels like a little brother that we can sort of beat up on and kind of every now and again, you know, throughout the season.
I absolutely love it. I mean, they hate me, but it's absolutely mutual, but I absolutely love this one. I love it. And boy, we better win tonight. I feel so, I feel so angry with everyone at Tottenham if we don't win this tonight. It means that much to me. It really does. But Jack, Dark Sun G also says, all we have to worry about is James Ward-Prowse free kick, in my opinion. I mean, look, we had a great day out when we met up over there for that game. And they actually celebrate when they get set pieces, believe it or not. They're worse than Burnley. How pathetic. But Jack, I did want this guy in the summer. One of the best set piece takers in the land. He's absolutely proven that again this season. You worried about James Ward-Prowse? Because when he was at Southampton, he loved scoring against us.
Yeah, if you concede a free kick in a dangerous area right in front of the 18-yard box, he's probably one of the best in the world, really, at getting it on target and challenging the keeper in that sort of area. But then also from just a genuine, set piece opportunity to whip the ball into the box from a corner, from a free kick again. I mean, he's just consistent, and he especially has been, brought into that West Ham team for a reason, because they really like set pieces and they see it as an opportunity to score. I think a lot of their goals, or sometimes even the majority of their goals, when they come up against certain opponents, I think they kind of see that as their route to winning the game. Maybe they, hope to score a goal from open play, but it's more usually set pieces, it looks like. So I think James Ward-Prowse has kind of just put that on steroids, really, for them. Like, he's just made it even easier for them, and it's made it even more consistent for them. So it's kind of a scary one for me, Dark Sun G. It's not even just the free kicks. I think it's just any corner, any set piece opportunity. He can hurt us. He's just consistent, and he's kind of annoying, I would say, especially against Spurs. I think you brought it up, Dave. And when I sort of thought about it, you're right. He kind of scores a lot of goals, or has always had good games against Spurs as well when he was at Southampton.
Yeah, he's definitely going to pose a massive threat tonight, Dark Sun G. But look, we can counter that by just dominating possession, keeping them pen back in their half. They tend to like being in their own half anyway, so hopefully they'll get used to that, my man. Shawnee Maddox member for 3 months. Has definitely been longer than that, my man. Philip, he says, I'd be curious as to what starting lineup you would go for, especially for the back four. Big win incoming. Come on, you Spurs. What I would say is, do you know what, Philip? I'll let you give your lineup out, but we're going to keep ours because that is a part of our talking point just a little bit later on. So, Philip, you could give your lineup out. What would you go for in the defence? And what would you go for in midfield? And I won't challenge you on any of it until we come back round to this discussion.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I think we've got it. Okay. Porro right back, obviously. Romero. I would stick with Ben Davies. And the only reason I'm sticking with Ben Davies is I think Royale gave the ball away a lot on Sunday against Man City. And Ben Davies, and this is what swung it for me, was the header out of defence that made the third goal, made the Celso's goal. The awareness he showed there. And obviously then have Udogie at left back. Midfield, I would go for the three. I would go Bissouma, Lo Celso, and Hoybjerg. I don't think Sar's going to be fit. And then up front, the usual, the Holy Trinity. Son, Kulusevski, and Brennan and Johnson. That'll be my lineup.
Well, there you are, Shawnee Maddox. Let us know. Do you agree with Philip? But we're going to withdraw ours until a little bit later on. We'll get stuck into it then. Because for me, I think the main sort of lineup, it does surround two partners, Romero, but really the rest of the shape of the lineup depends on whether you go Hoybjerg or Gill tonight for me. So we'll definitely get into that, my man. Big yourself up, though. Definitely longer than 3 months. Absolutely look forward to your calls as well. And Shawnee, be nice to see Donnelly get another appearance tonight. My man, or Dorington off the bench. That would be nice. Mara Nicebridge says, I grew up in West Ham area. Can't lose to this lot. That he does. And he also wears the flat caps as well. I'd argue they probably suit him better than what they suit me, but he's definitely from around there. Look, big up to Taylor. Back surgery tomorrow. An absolute horrible surgery to be having. But, Taylor's a fighter. He's an absolute fighter. He'll be back in with you for Christmas in no time. Taylor, make sure every single day you fight, my man, to get out for Christmas Day. But look, we know the back is a very important part of the body, right? So it has to be done as well at the same time, my man. But all goes well, and we'll get the win for you tonight as well. Big up, Martin Knightsbridge. Big one for him today. He really can't lose it. Brad Matthews as well, of course, up from around the East End. Massive game for some people out there today. Dark Sun G says the ref was the controversial one for Fulham v Wolves, where Wolves was robbed of a red card and a non-penalty call. That was that was made a pen. Come on, you Spurs, Jack. You remember? I see you nodding. You remember the game?
Where Wolves was robbed of a red card and a non-penalty call that was made a pen. I'm trying to think, because Wolves, I like watching Wolves, Dark Sunji, because I sort of I'm not as maybe big of a fan of Wang Hee-chan, but I think he's very underrated, like you think he is too. And there are a few players in that Wolves team I like Pedro Neto and Mateusz Cunha. I'm also kind of a bit of a Gary O'Neill kind of a fan, or I think he's kind of underrated at times. But I must say, of all the Wolves sort of decisions that have gone against them this year, and it's been a catalog of them, I'm trying to remember that one in particular because the referees really do hate them. It's quite, fun to watch actually at times, any sort of VAR call of any kind, you just know that Wolves are just going to get burned in some sort of manner. And even plenty of times they don't even get really just genuine fouls in general, kind of like us, when we were kind of getting clattered or having maybe two, harsher tackles on us without really getting any sort of punishment. I've seen that in a few Wolves games. So I can't really recall that one, though. Does anybody know this Fulham game?
Wouldn't be Man United versus Wolves. Remember the goalkeeper assaulted the Wolves player and got away with it.
Oh, yeah, he thought he was Deontay Wilder, didn't he? He came out and punched him straight in the head.
Or even the Wang Hee-chan penalty that he gave away a penalty, but he really barely even stabbed at the ball at all. And there was just a huge dive. I think it was Newcastle, I believe that was, and they should have really gotten a result in that game. They were unlucky to concede a penalty. It's just been a catalog of funny moments of the referees just really hate Wolves.
I just feel refereeing standard in all games from last season, it has been very poor. And VAR has not made it any easier. I don't want to go on to a VAR thing, but I think there's a lot of decisions. If VAR wasn't involved, I think the game would have flowed more better. And then we could all go down the pub, or that should have been a penalty, or that should have been a red card. But because it's replayed so much now with VAR and with replays and television showing so many replays, it rarely shows the incompetence of the service and the referees at the moment. And there's many games where clubs can look back justly and say, we should have had a penalty, we should have had a free kick, or we should have had a goal or not a goal. I just feel there has to be a big shake-up, and who's ever making these decisions about VAR and about these referees, there have to be a big shake-up within it, because we cannot keep going on like this. The game is being ruined by being run by men behind the screen, not by the man in the middle. You either get rid of VAR, just keep it for goal line technology, or a really decision that you cannot on a really tight offside, or you implement it fully and it works, that everyone is on the same page. We can't keep going on like this any further, because it's ruining the game we love. And look, Fulham versus Wolves.
Yeah.
You come to the end of the season, is that going to be 3 points or a point where Wolves get relegated? I'd say they won't, but it could turn around. A team can get relegated because of a mistake by VAR and the referee. And they're going to pay the team compensation? No, they're not.
I just love the way the argument has come full circle. It started off with there's too much money and too much at stake. We need VAR. Now all of a sudden they're getting that much wrong. They're now coming out and going, well, they are human beings at the end of the day. They're humans. They make mistakes. Okay. If we're at that point, then why didn't we just accept that in the first place? Absolutely mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling, Dark Sung G. But Jackie does clarify it. He says, Semedo pen was never a pen and Vinicius yellow, not a red.
So he's just sort of saying that I guess it was just howlers on both sides, maybe is what he's trying to just kind of point out, which is also never a good sign. You'd rather almost just the referee at least just be making wrong calls for one team and then, good calls for the other. But if he's just making, atrocious calls for either side, that's never a good situation. I hope it was Simon Hooper just reffing all of our games really this season, Dark Sun G, because he's been terrific for us. He's just always found a way to kind of involve himself in some sort of controversy while benefiting us. And for the most part, I think kind of getting most of his calls right, but he just finds a way to just sort of make it all about him, at the end of the day, and distract everybody else from the Spurs result. So I would say I hope we get Simon Hooper for the rest of the season.
Do you guys feel that
match last week?
Do you guys feel that because the referees are doing VAR, what?
We're not getting into a VAR debate.
No,
today.
I'm just saying, do you feel it needs to be different people doing VAR instead of referees? That's the only point I was going to ask. I'm not trying to get into a debate, but does it need to be a referee on the pitch, but somebody else instead of referees doing everything? Because they are going to look at the game differently.
See, there's arguments about former players going in there.
Yeah.
There's arguments about former players going in there and stuff like that, but I'm not sure what problem that solves. Would they understand the rules as deeply as the referees? I'm not so sure. So, look, I just think, the rules need to be a bit simpler. There's too much. Every rule now is left over to interpretation. It's just an absolute farce on that. Absolute farce. I don't know how they're going to solve. To me, I'd just rather get rid of the whole thing. I'm not against technology in football. The chip in the ball works, right, for the goal line technology. As long as it's something like that, that's just decisive, no problem. But this is it's actually taken away from even football analysis. You don't even see great football analysis anymore because it's all about the referees. It's just it's an absolute joke. The bottom do it. Good evening, good to see you, my man. He says, the longer it remains 0-0, the more worried I'll be. They're going to park the bus, but I see a Spurs win 2-0. Look, Dermo, this is a point that I've sort of made.
Yeah.
That I think I've seen it with West Ham the last couple of weeks. Who was it? It was against Burnley, and there was another team that if they're in it with 10 minutes to go, they've snatched a win. So for me, we have to be out of sight by 10 minutes to go. Would you agree with that? Would you be worried with 10 minutes to go if the game's still in the balance? Because I remember a few games, there's a couple under Jose Mourinho where the game was in the balance and they called us back.
Yeah, I would be worried, but we now have this attitude of never giving up ourselves.
True.
So I think that might cancel that out. But look, we have to take our chances. I've been saying this quite consistently the last few games. If you don't take your chances, the Premier League will bite you. It will kick you. We've got to take our chances. West Ham are no mugs. West Ham have got late goals and some of the games this season where you thought West Ham's going to be 0-0 and they've come up in the last few minutes and nicked a winner. We cannot take these lightly. We've got to go with the attitude, take our chances early, and let's not get to 0-0 with 10 minutes to go. But look, I would be worried, but I think we've got this attitude and they've given up ourselves. So I think that sort of cancels it out a little bit. But look, let's take our chances. We won't have to worry.
Fair point. We do keep going to the end. We've got a few late equalizers. So that is a fair point. Jack, Philip, anything you want to say to the bottom do on that?
I'd say one thing. Up to this season, I'd be worried if Spurs were 4-0 up with 10 minutes to go. You never feel confident when the Spurs are winning, even 2 or 3. This season, I think if we're 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go, we're fine. But rightly enough, West Ham have a habit of nicking late goals, and we want to be careful. And we've let it look against Wolves. Look at the 2 we let in the 90th and 94th minute, whatever it was. Yeah. So just got to be careful tonight.
I almost about him, dude. I almost even had like a shudder go through my body if it were like 0-0 and kind of 80th minute and West Ham get a set piece, because just the way that Souček and those guys just sort of kind of those big tall trees of theirs, that just sort of roam around the box, and without Mickey van de Ven and kind of other players in the team, we're sort of a small team in general, I think, and they I think Dave has sort of said, I've said, especially in our pre-match thoughts for the members and everything, it's just the one sort of way that I don't really see us being able to, do much about. I think we'll hopefully get lucky and just defend well, but they're just exceptionally good at set pieces, and they have so many guys that just sort of throw themselves at it like missiles sometimes for some of those balls. So you really have to be brave. You also have to have a convincing clearance as well, because usually they have some good rebounds. So if we can score early and get some distance between us and them, I'd be really delighted, because if it's 0-0 after halftime or even 0-0 right before halftime and they get a set piece, I'm nervous. I really am, because it's just, they can just play pretty terribly and pretty boring for the majority of the game, but they'll score 2-3 goals with set pieces sometimes. And they, like I said, an actual open play can be quite boring and terrible, but anytime they find some sort of chance like that, a dead ball, they just punish you.
Don't give away free kicks. Don't give away free kicks 40 yards from goal. That's one of the secrets. Just be disciplined. Don't fire into the tackle. No, just don't give away free kicks in free kick range. That's it. That's one of the secrets.
Look, that brings me on to my next question. My next question is, we've already picked up 2 red cards in London derbies, one at Luton, one at Chelsea. And we actually have one of the worst disciplinary records in the Premier League. How important is it tonight that we actually sort of keep our cool or tamper that down? Because I think Doji's also on 4 yellow cards. If he picks up a yellow card tonight, that's a 1-game suspension due to accumulation, which puts him out against Newcastle. So how important is it that we actually keep our heads tonight?
We have to, yeah. But like, I think about it, like London derbies are contentious. They're fiery. They're furious. Tackles are flying in. It's going to be. It depends how the referee looks at it. If he lets it go for the first few minutes, then players will calm down. It'll probably become a bit more of a normal match. But if he starts flashing the cards around for the first few tackles that go in, we could be in trouble. We can't afford to lose anyone else. Jesus, we're bad enough as it is without losing the Doji. So the players, Ange will have to tell the players just to calm, especially Romero. We don't want Romero going in and flying into tackles and getting suspended again. That's my only worry about that guy. He just seems to lose temporary control of himself when he shouldn't. I know he was unfortunate against Chelsea, but that wasn't the first time he's done things like that. So keep the heads, keep the cool, and let West Ham worry about let West Ham be the ones that go in with the bad tackles on us. Because if we're attacking them, they're going to be defending hard and more likely to have put in tackles than we will have to. So hopefully that's going to be the way.
Yeah, 100%. Part of me does want to see Romero bish bosh bash all around that pitch. I'm not gonna lie. Just at the right moments, though. Just at the right moments. But it is very, very important we keep our heads tight. The last thing we want to do is go down to 10 men. Last thing we want to do is lose a Doji for Newcastle. So we have to have our wits about us tonight. Big up there, the bottom do it all. Good to see you in, my man, and really appreciate this support. Dark Sun G says Gooners, Kiwar got away with a foul. That cutie got a red for these refs. Sure, may ref games differently, but can we have consistently red card challenges? Absolutely agree. I've seen it. I've seen people arguing about it on social media. I mean, even Spurs fans, going, "Oh, it's not a red, but Romero's is." What are you talking about? If Romero gets sent off for that and Kiwar doesn't, and I'd argue, Romero obviously went to clear the ball first. So it's just like, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Now people might understand why. I think there's an agenda against Tottenham Hotspur. But Jack, before I go in, I'm not even going to get deep into my conspiracy today. So take it away.
No, Dave, this is the one bit of evidence I think you could totally have when it comes to it, because I've seen a billion challenges. Even I remember during the watch along, Dark Sun G, when that challenge happened and when it was given a red card, I sort of had said, well, I've seen like 4 or 5 challenges this weekend already that were worse challenges than that weren't given as red cards. So why is this being, blown, going back and, blown up for it? And also as well, I felt like even some of the reaction from our own fan base, kind of calling Romero naughty and, saying, oh, he has it in him, all these sort of things. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, Romero is like an aggressive player, but that's not the challenge, really, I think, to really kind of get, angry with him about. Like, again, I've seen 10 million challenges that are worse than that since then. And even during that weekend, even Havertz, during that game against Newcastle, just absolutely just tore through whatever player that was with both feet up. I've seen challenges from plenty of games where players have gone in with both feet up, looking to even take out the player, looking to make even a tactical foul, but also kind of lay one in him as well at the same time. And it's just, I don't know. It was one of those where I just never can see why people got that upset about Romero for it. And personally, if you even think it's a red card, I don't know. I disagree. But like I said, it's just one of those where it worries me that, certain fouls like that are just given as red cards. And then you see the, 10 times worse ones, the next day that aren't even given much of a yellow card. It does concern me.
Look, I think the difference is we were at Tottenham. We're on a 10-game unbeaten run. I think Dark Sun G. I think that's why, they had to stop it somehow. They couldn't stop it on the pitch, so had to stop it somehow, didn't they, my man? But I think Jack's
what a red card is sometimes. It really is, and that's what is sad. It's like challenges that look absolutely disgusting are given as yellows, and then challenges like that are given as reds, and it's just I don't get it sometimes. Dark Sun G.
And he's spot on. Every ref is going to have different, referee it differently. But what we do want is consistency, and I feel like we've lost that ever since VAR has come into the game, my man. And look, hopefully tonight the referee's consistent as well. If he's going to let things go when West Ham tackle us, I want him to let it go the other way when we tackle them, because too many games this season I've seen things let go when it's on us, and then, blown up when we make these same challenges. So I just want the consistency, my man. You're absolutely spot on. Jackie also says, both were bad calls for Wolves. For your information, he referred us 2 times last season, refed us 2 times last season, the epic 4-3 match against Leeds, and the sad 4-1 defeat away to Foxes, where Bentancur got his ACL injury.
That 4-3 match against Leeds was some of the worst defending I'd seen in years. I remember, Dark Sun J. I remember calling it a basketball match between the two teams. Just neither side could defend. Eric Dyer had a few howlers. in that game. I think it was, what was his name, who had one of the best names in football, Crescencio Somerville or whatever that guy's name is,
yeah.
you know, one of the best names in general, but he had a terrific game against us. And I don't remember the referee having many howlers in that, but probably could have, knowing, you know, it was that much of a basketball game and it was just so end to end. He probably was losing his mind himself. But against the Foxes, I just feel like I said to you in the chat, Dark Senji, I feel like I've seen some really unlucky games for us against the Foxes with either referee decisions or just things just not going our way in whatever sort of, you know, kind of manner. And then other times where we've just been really lucky, in fact, and we've been given decisions actually by referees, or we've had, you know, a lucky bounce of a ball and someone just taps it home when we've been playing pretty terribly. So I'm glad we don't have to play Leicester anymore, because it never felt like it was an easy game against Leicester. It's just one of those teams that always ended up being, you know, some sort of crazy fixture. So, but reminding me of a Bentancur ACL injury. I hope he comes back as soon as possible, you know, with that ankle injury, because it'd be lovely to see Bentancur and Basuma, or Bentancur and Gio, I think would not be a bad combination right now. So want to see Bentancur back as well. And
Sure.
I think at these stage, Dark Senji, the referees, they all have a catalog of bad calls.
Yeah.
I can't even tell which one is a good one anymore.
They're all disgraceful at this point, my man. It's a joke. A Moondog also follows up, says, we don't need VAR, get rid of it. It's killed the game. Absolutely spot on, my man. It's just too contentious. It's the only thing that everyone's talking about on a Monday morning now. You know, you've got the referee show at Sport Talk about now the refereeing decisions and everything else. And it just feels like, to me, they're creating more talking points to be able to maximize more around the game and drag more and more money out of it. I'm just absolutely fed up with it at this point, Moondog. Until we can get some consistency or people that know how to use it, just bin it out of the game. I'm absolutely sick of it, my man. Absolutely sick of it. But big up, Moondog. Really appreciate the support, brother. But look, we've a few more talking points. We'll get to a couple, and then we'll get back into the chat again. Philip, how important is it that we build on the result at the Etihad at the weekend? You know, the 3-3 draw with City.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, to go to Man City, like, let's face it, everybody expected, the pundits, Paul Merson, reckon we're going to get absolutely mothered up there. Nobody even predicted as much as a draw for Spurs. We proved them all wrong. So that would be a huge, huge boost, morale boost for the team, energy boost as well. I mean, a draw at Manchester City, to me, is nearly the equivalent of an away win anywhere else, because so few teams go there and get a result. And the fact that we scored 3 goals against them, that doesn't happen too often. I know that they let 4 in against Chelsea, but I think it'll be a huge, huge boost for the team. Now, if we lost, that would have been 4 defeats on the bounce, which could have had the opposite effect, you know, kind of a demoralizing effect on it. But I think the guys will be into tonight's game. They'll be bouncing. They'll be banging off the wall, waiting to get out on that pitch tonight. And a lot of that will be as a result of the effort and the never say die attitude they showed against Man City on Sunday, which was tremendous to watch. You know, it really was. I mean, you go down to City, especially lucky. We were lucky in the first half. We could have been 4-1 down at half time very easily. We weren't. And City may have taken the foot off the gas a bit in the second half, but I give Spurs more credit. Spurs haven't been given the credit for that second half. The pundits have all gone for that. City took the foot off the gas. I don't accept that. I think Spurs upped the ante and absolutely dominated City in that second half. And wouldn't have been surprised if we got the win. Okay, we got a bit of luck at the end with the referee's decision, but we deserve a bit of luck. We haven't had much lately.
Oh, of course we do. Of course we do. We always seem to be, in my opinion, on the wrong end of the division. So I'm delighted we did get that look. But, you know, look, I do agree with you. I think, you know, we upped the ante in the second half. One thing I was very frustrated with in the first half is I thought we lacked energy or lacked conviction or belief in what we were trying to do, you know, whereas, you know, I think that comes true. Postecoglou, Kulu, Vicario, they all sort of spoke about what was said at halftime about believing in themselves, doubling down on it even more, doing things with conviction and stuff like that. But Dermot, moving on to you, my man, is the result at the Etihad sort of the result that can get Spurs back on track and back moving up that league table once again?
I think so. I think there was more out of that draw. We can take so many positives out of it. Yeah, we all agree the first half wasn't great. And Andrew's right. Kulu came out and said he said the right words at the right time. Believe in yourself. I was saying it all last week. Man City are not a team. They're not a robot. They're a team. They're beatable. And I will predict tonight, West Ham will fall in 3. So that's my prediction tonight. Look, we've got to take a lot of positive out of the game. Never say die attitude. It's them games that turn seasons. It's them games that you can look back on at the end of the season. That's where our season turned for the better. And I think that West Ham has set us on now for an unbeaten run now. I really do believe that. I think we've got so much confidence out of a point where everyone expected us to lose. We went up there and said, look, we're not going to lose. We're as good as you. We can beat you. We're as good as anyone in the Premier League. And they're going to turn up tonight and beat West Ham. And then we're going to Newcastle and beat them. That's a great run to send us into Christmas. These are the pivotal games that will make or break our season this month. And at the moment, we've started off with a point. Let's continue on with that and remain unbeaten for the whole December.
You're a man that likes to make predictions, Dermo. Are we back in the title race?
Look, I said it earlier, we are. I said it earlier. I said it to you earlier on the phone, Dave, when I was on my way back. If we get 6 points this weekend, we're banging the title race again. If we pick up 4 points, we're banging the Champions League race. We're already in the Champions League race, but the Premier League is wide open this year. Not one team is running away with it. Arsenal will not win it. Look how they played Luton the other night, conceded 3 goals. We beat them with 10 men and didn't play well. And we didn't concede any goals against them. Arteta is Lego man. His wife takes him to pieces, put him in his little box, and then she puts him back together again the next morning. Man City, Pep, they've lost the hunger. They're not hungry for it. You know, they've won the treble. They think they're big jolly lads. Oh, we're the best team in the world. Well, prove it. Regain your Champions League or regain the Premier League. Prove it. I think there's 4 or 5 teams or 6 teams in the chance at the moment for the title. The Champions League race will go to the final day of the season, and Tottenham will be there and thereabout. But a long way to go. But honestly,
look, a long way to go. But a good week this week. You never know. You never know. It is the Premier League is tightening up a little. So look, we'll wait and see on that. People in the chat, let me know. You know, if we win tonight and on Sunday, do you agree with Dermo? Are we back in the title race?
Probably
Jack,
not, Dave. To be honest.
Huh?
I say probably not, Dave. To be honest.
You never know. You never know, Dermo. Football's a great game. It produces up magical times in especially in the festive fixture period. So you just never know. Jack, Dark Song G, aren't Hammers fullbacks their weak spot?
I feel like Soufal. I said this to the members or to you, Dave, or somebody, where I said I feel like Soufal can have a good game, but then other times certain players can give him a pretty torrid time, and I feel like it's more players on that sort of more agile, kind of quicker type of angle. Maybe he kind of matches pretty well in the physical department. He's not afraid of maybe a mean challenge, and also as well kind of defending with his kind of his back to goal. I think he's part of that sort of low block type of a system for West Ham, and he's pretty good at it. Him and Souček together, the 2 Czech internationals. But I feel like Hill Messi wouldn't be a bad player to go again for. I feel like he should be given 3 games in a row, but I feel like he could maybe pose some problems for Soufal. He's not as quick as Kyle Walker was. I think people were a bit harsh on Brian Hill, where they were saying he had, I guess maybe he had a bit of an underwhelming sort of half, but he had one good moment that did lead to the first goal being scored. And if it wasn't for that, I think then we wouldn't have scored that goal. He had probably one of the more crucial parts to the buildup of that goal. And then coming up against Kyle Walker is pretty hard. I think Vinicius Jr. has struggled, against him. We've seen Mbappe struggle against him. He's probably one of the best defending kind of right backs and center backs in the world still. And I think anybody could be made to look pretty inferior to him. So I feel like let's give Hill Messi another chance against somebody like Soufal, who's not going to be nearly as quick. And then he might struggle with some of the flair and some of the hesitations and all that sort of buzzing energy that Hill likes to bring on the left wing. And I think he's been all right in possession. I think he likes to take risks, and that's what Postecoglou's about.
For sure. Dark Song G, we could definitely get at them for sure, my man. Let's get down the sides of them, balls in behind them, and Sonny in the 6-yard box, just to put them away, tap them home all night, my man. Big up, brother, and really do appreciate the support. Some great talking points coming in there from you, my man. Mia W and the bottom do. I'm going to save yours. We're getting there to that section, so just give me a moment. But I will get onto them. Don't worry about that. I have them starred, so I'll bring them up. I just want to ask put another sort of stat out there at the minute, and just see where people are at with this. Tottenham are without a victory in their previous 4 league games, despite scoring the opening goal in all 4 of those matches. And we have dropped 13 points from a winning position this season in the Premier League. Only Burnley have dropped more. Do we still have a mentality problem at our club, and how do we fix it? Because many managers have tried and failed who are supposed to have some of the best mentalities in the game. We'll start with you on this one, Philip, and work our way around.
Yeah, I don't think. No, I think there was a mentality problem at the club for a lot of reasons under the previous manager. I don't think we have a mentality problem. I think it's probably something that hasn't happened in a long, long time, that we've gone into the lead in 4 matches and haven't won any of them. No, I don't think so. I think Ange is a work in progress. And I mean, I think we're still well ahead of the curve regarding where we thought we'd be at this time of the season and where we actually are. I thought we'd be lucky if we were, maybe 7th or 8th at this time of the season. We've done pretty well up to that, better than I thought we'd do well. He's working on all aspects of the players' performances, be it mental, physical, in every way. And I don't think it's a mental thing. I think we've just been unfortunate. I think the fact that we haven't had our full centre-back lineup there for any of those games, except the Chelsea one when we lost both of them during it. If you look back at the following 3 games, we had makeshift with 4 fullbacks playing in the defence. So that's more the reason for letting in the goals than the mentality end of it. I think it's players playing out of position. And I would sort of say that if we'd have had Van de Ven and Romero for the Wolves, Villa and Man City games, we would not have conceded as many goals as we have done. And I think it's a availability of players issue rather than a mentality one, in my opinion.
Do you know what? I'd go along with that personally as well. Dermot, do you agree with that, or do you think there is a mentality issue? Because look, the stats don't lie. Only Burnley have dropped more points from winning positions. There has to be something that's causing that.
Look, you're right. Stats don't lie, but I don't think the mentality problem is as bad as it was under previous managers or previous players, because a lot of them players are not there now. I know you still got Hugo, you still got Dyer, you still got Davies, so you've got a few of them players that will revert back to that sort of way of playing away and thinking. And it does spread if you are winning 1-0 and then players revert back. It's gonna spread. But look, we have to see Postecoglou's changed the culture at Tottenham. We've got a different culture. And I feel Philip is right. We are ahead of the curve. Me and Philip and Dave, even you, Jack, probably saw what he did at Celtic. He changed that club from head to toe, from top to front. And I just feel these players that have been brought in have a new sort of enthusiasm that we won't give up. And Ange is getting that across. And that is getting into these players now. Mourinho, defensive. Conte, defensive. Nuno, defensive. If you're going to play defensive football, you're going to have a defensive attitude. You're going to have an attitude of, well, okay, we won a lot. We're going to protect this. But with Ange's, right, 1-0 up is not good enough. You keep pushing. You keep going forward. And I think he will get there in the end. I don't think it's as bad as it was last season. But as you say, Dave, stats don't lie. But you can change everything at one go. Players that are playing now have got a mentality of, we don't give up. Until you get out the rest of these bad eggs out of the club, you're always going to have an element of that mentality within the squad because they're there. They're the ones that are causing it, not the newer players. So it's a case of weeding them out and just continue what we're doing. But it's shocking stat, though, Dave. That is a shocking stat. And it's something that will change, and I'm sure it will change under Ange.
Look, Dermot, them stats are the reason why people come in and tune into this. No biased here. We'll bring up stats, whether they're good or bad. I go to the deep dark web for them. I bring them to you guys, and we have a great discussion. But Jack, where do you sit on the situation? Do you agree with Dermot and Philip that it's due to injuries, sort of some of the older sort of players coming back in, and we're seeing the same sort of repetitive patterns, or is there still a mentality issue at Tottenham?
I've left a lot of these defeats just more confused about how did we not get something out of it and how did we not get a result there, that I've been sort of like, geez, like where do we start, with that performance? Like, it's not been one
there, right?
Yeah, and like we've had periods where we're like with so few players that we really have that we would expect to get as many minutes as they have so far this season. Like just guys like Ben Davies and Emerson playing at center back, Dyer already getting, a few games and minutes than we probably didn't want at this stage. And just sort of the makeshift backlines and makeshift midfields all of a sudden that we've had to sort of just hope that it can work has kind of impressed me. And we've been able to give teams, I think, proper, tests and proper games. Like I think Wolves, they were, credit to them, gave us, kind of stifled us in a lot of periods, but they still had to earn it and they still had to get over the line. In the case of Aston Villa, I actually think they were quite lucky, actually. I think, yes, they had some moments themselves, but it felt like, we were just missing far more chances than they actually were. And most of theirs felt like they were more from set pieces, really, than they really did come from open play, I would say. And I've been very impressed with some of the, defeats, even though they have been defeats. Been very impressed, and I've not left just kind of how would you put it, down and lost about where do Spurs go from here. I've left each defeat sort of learning something new about us and actually gaining some type of confidence that we can still hurt teams despite having all these losses in the squad. So yeah, Dave, I think maybe we do have a bit of a soft underbelly at times where we might sort of switch off a little bit and we can't concede goals, but I don't know, like I think I haven't been as I haven't lost any confidence in this team actually over these defeats. I really haven't.
I agree with you. I haven't lost any confidence in them whatsoever. What I would say is I do think, I think the boys have hit the nails on the head. I think it is more so down to, us being hampered with absolute injuries. If we even had half of those players back, we probably would have walked them games, in my opinion. And the thing is, the performances have been there, which is the encouraging thing about it. Now it's just up to the transfer window, which is coming up, to try and add a bit more strength in depth in places. Jazzy Fusion, my man, I'm very sorry to hear that. Really, I'm sorry to hear that, my man. It's always a sad day when the anniversaries come around, my man, and it's always very, very hard to lose a parent, brother. But keep the chin up, and hopefully we get the win for you tonight and put a smile on your face, my man. Big yourself. Jack, just quickly, I'm going to stick with you. Thoughts on Tottenham signing Fraser Forster to a new deal until June 2025?
Don't mind it. Don't mind it, really. I think it makes sense. I think he's actually been a better backup keeper than I expected when he was first brought in. We even sort of joked at one stage last season that was actually maybe the best signing of all the signings last season for how poorly it really went for everybody. And I think he was actually better than Lloris with his feet, and we needed actually a keeper to be better with his feet when put under pressure. I'm not saying he's as good as Vicario with his feet or anything, but I think he's actually better than what I expected for somebody who's actually, I believe, older than Lloris, or as old as Lloris, if I'm not mistaken. And he kind of has some questionable moments, Fraser Forster, but I don't know. I think he's been all right when we've called upon him, and you can't always expect, the backup keeper to be, someone just as good as usually do have some type of drop off. And I don't know if I envy the Mikel Arteta situation with Ramsdale and Raya. I don't know if I want that type of drama right now at the moment, or even the whole Onana, Bayindir, kind of guy, the Turkish keeper. He seems quite good, and it's just, waiting to be given that chance. I'm not sure if I like that sort of relationship. Maybe the establishment, first choice keeper, and then having a bit of a drop off to the second choice keeper might actually be clever at the end of the day. Maybe there's a reason it was always like that.
Yeah, look, for me, look, I don't mind it whatsoever. Obviously means we ain't going to go into the market over the next two windows and go and look for a goalkeeper. It gives the likes of Josh Keeley and Luca Gunter a chance to develop, which is good. Plus, he's homegrown, he's experienced. So for me, it sort of makes sense so that we can add strength and depth in other areas before maybe we do go for that goalkeeper area. But moving on, we will finally get to me a super chat. It is about Romero being back. We'll kick off with Philip on it first. I mean, Philip, how big of a boost is it to have Rambam back tonight?
Massive. Absolutely massive. It'll also give the other players in the defence that bit of confidence that we now actually have a qualified centre-back playing for us, as opposed to the makeshifts which we've had for the last 4 games. Yeah, it's great. Just as long as he behaves himself. Now, I hope Mia hasn't been feeding him anything too much red meat or anything in the dungeon there to that he comes out all baring his teeth at the West Ham players at the start of the match, Save it for Matty Cash the next time around. Yeah, it's great to have him back. Great to have him back.
Yeah, look, for me, I'm absolutely buzzing to have Romero back. I mean, we've conceded 11 goals in his absence. We haven't been progressing the ball out from the back anywhere near as fluid or as often, and he's a good guy for keeping possession as well. And, being able to play beyond the press sometimes. Sometimes when Basuma comes drop deep and people go with him, he has the ability to be able to find players in beyond that. Very, very important to this team. And I think one thing we've learned, despite all the controversy around him after the red card, one thing I think we've all learned, Tottenham Hotspur is a better player with Romero on the team. So for me, that puts an end to the discussion completely. But Dermo, to me, is super chat. She says, I love Romero, but it's okay to call him silly for that because the result is him missing games that we needed him. As you know, I have no agenda. Come on, you Spurs.
I think she's not happy that maybe I excused Romero's red card. Or no, she's not that she's upset. I think she disagrees that I might have excused Romero's red card a bit. Yeah.
No, I don't think you're excusing it. Look, speak for yourself, Jack, but look, in my opinion, I just don't believe it's a red card whatsoever. I've seen worse challenges since then where they haven't got the ball, i.e. Matty Cash on Bentancur, no red card. Romero clears the ball, catches him on the follow-through, but I'd encourage everyone, go and grab a football, put it in front of your washing machine or a concrete wall, go and rattle that ball full force and tell me you do not follow through and hit that concrete wall in front. And if you don't, you're pulling out. So, I don't think it was a red card personally, and that's why I don't think it's an agenda either, and I don't think we're excusing him personally. For me, I just don't believe it's a red. I know a lot of other people since find it dubious, and I think if it wasn't given, we wouldn't even be having these discussions about Romero. We'd be talking about how great he is. But Dermo, where do you sit on it? And is it okay to call Romero silly? Do you think it was a red card?
I don't think it was a red card. I think it was. You see them challenges day in, day out in the Premier League of the past. And again, this is VAR and referees against the Tottenham agenda, but that's a different subject. I wouldn't change Romero for the world. I wouldn't change him one little bit because if you
not
take
even
that
ask him
out,
to be a bit less rash.
No, if you take that out of his game, you're taking something away from Romero. I know everyone is saying, "Oh, he should be a bit calmer," but if you take that calmness out, if you take that out of him, you haven't got the same Romero. He's Argentinian. He's going to be hot-blooded anyway. They're fiery people anyway. I understand what Philip is saying. Look, and for me, it wasn't a red card. It was a challenge, and I think the referee lost control of that game long before that tackle anyway. But I wouldn't change Romero. I love him the way he is. He's our player. He's our vice captain. And I think that's calmed him down a bit as well, been given the vice captaincy as well. It happened to Maradona. Maradona was a fiery Argentinian player. You see all the tackles and all the fights he got into. The Argentinian manager gave him the captaincy. It calmed him down. And he became the world's greatest player the world's ever seen of my generation. But no, don't change Romero. Keep doing what you're doing. We love you the way you are. Just do not change.
I have an agenda of just loving Romero, and I know Mia does as well, but I think she's able to sort of distinguish between what are the kind of the bad challenges and what are the silly challenges, like she's saying, and maybe what aren't. Even when Romero has a silly challenge or a bit of a naughty challenge, I actually kind of enjoy it. And I kind of get a bit of because I just know he's that sort of player. He's got to let it out. And sometimes it's not really done, in the best sort of ways by him. And maybe he gets punished for it. But I just feel like, 9 out of 10 times, or the majority of the time, we're more benefiting from his aggression and from his sort of, kind of a relentless style of play than we really get hurt for it. And I think Mia would agree with that as well, right? But I sometimes, when he has these sort of naughty challenges, I kind of enjoy them. So it's hard. I have an agenda. I have a total bias, in love of Romero when he does.
Well, go on, Dora.
I've just said it's more his reputation gets him into more trouble than the tackling. I think
agree.
It's the reputation. It's the reputation that people are giving him. Romero's a very good defender, a great tackler. He's got us out of more holes than Eric Dyer ever did in his whole football career. And to be fair, I think you got to take Romero as he is. Ozzy Ardiles, he was a hot-headed Argentinian. Philip will tell you that back in the day. So look. I just think his reputation precedes him, and that's a sad thing.
I agree. I agree with that, because I think anytime Romero makes a challenge, there's such hyper focus on it because it's him. But other players, when they make equally as bad challenges, no one focuses on it, dwells on it. It's not even a talking point the next day. So I do think there is I'd argue an agenda against Romero in that regard. I'd argue the opposite. But big up me. I really appreciate the support and a good talking point. But one thing I think we'll all agree, it's never good to be missing Romero because of the complications it causes us. So, you know, he owes the fans a string of good performances and hopefully he can do that, Mia. You know, hopefully he can give us a string of great performances because he does owe us. Of course, you know, we've dropped points within his absence. But I'd also say Romero also takes a lot of blame in that regard. I think if we had better backup behind them, it wouldn't be as much of a talking point. But because we don't, it is. And I do understand that. But guys, I'm going to be cautious not to spend too long on this because I do have to move over to Tottenham TV in about 25 minutes. But who drops out for Romero today? Is it Davies or is it Emerson? I know everyone will have their thoughts on this. Who we got? But you know what? We'll kick it off with you, Philip.
Go for it.
Well, I think I already said I'd play Davies instead of Royale tonight. But I mean, I'm open. That's no great conviction. That's really just on a hunch, you know. It wouldn't surprise me if Emerson did play, Royale did play, but I would just stick with Davies because he's got form there for playing pretty well at centre half for Wales. And like he's done okay. He hasn't let the side down, so I just stick with him. You know.
I disagree slightly that he hasn't let the side down. I disagree. I thought he was at fault for both games against Fulham. I'd not directly at fault for the second one against Wolves, but it started with him just being crap on the ball. But however, I take your point. He was good on the ball against Man City, but I caught that second goal, and everyone's praising him for being the only one running back. But the rule of defending 101 is keeping a line. He's the only one that broke that line. If he didn't break that line, they would have all been offside. And I think we have to understand that. You know, I see, you know, people that are praising Davies for breaking the line just have never played defense before, don't even understand what defending is. The most important thing is keeping that line. You even go back to the old Arsenal team where they used to hold a string and practice keeping that line. It's very, very, very important. And I'd argue, I'd actually take Davies out. I think he's cost us points. I'd actually preferably go with Emerson, but also for another reason. I get he was wolfing on the ball against Man City. West Ham ain't going to press us that high, nowhere near it. And I'd also, the reason why I want him in there is I think he's better in the air than anybody across that back line. And with being bombarded from set pieces, that's personally why I would go with Emerson today. But I do understand off both games, Emerson was good defensively, but crap on the ball. Davies cost us a goal, but was good on the ball. I mean, Jack, where do you sit with it? It's 50-50.
You covered that and built that up so well, Dave. Honestly, I think you took as well like a lot of the very good points of what makes, you know, it makes sense for Emerson, in my opinion, just because I think, like you brought up there, Davies has probably abandoned some of the Postecoglou type of ways of playing from time to time. We've seen him start to sit back when we were under pressure against Wolves, when we had Eric Dyer next to him. There's been other times when I've seen him, you know, start to drop back and abandon that line, you know, before anyone else does, because I think he's trying to cover his own ass and make sure that he doesn't get beaten behind. And I can understand that, you know, somebody who's probably a bit older and has lost kind of that pace and those legs, you know, it does probably, you know, make you quite nervous, you know, seeing players, you know, making those runs beyond you like that and you feeling like you don't have sort of the legs to catch up with them. And I think Emerson has been more disciplined in a lot of cases when it comes to holding that line, like you're saying. And at moments, he's shown that he kind of understands the role of all sort of four positions of that back line. He's been able to do a decent job at sort of the right back position when Poro's been out. He's done an okay job at center back, especially defensively. I think when he was put under pressure against teams like Man City, I think some of his technical, you know, or lack of, you know, technical skill, especially maybe, you know, in the center back areas in possession got exposed. But I think he's actually, when maybe not put under as much pressure, he's good at retaining possession and he's not, you know, useless in possession. He can pick out a decent pass. It's just when under that type of pressure, I think he was struggling. But I don't think, like you say, West Ham are going to do that. And against set pieces, I think he's been really useful for us. He's actually somebody that is willing to throw his head in there. I did ask earlier, we need people to be brave when it comes to challenging those set pieces. Emerson's one of them. He's always willing to throw his head in there, and he does a pretty good job of having a convincing clearance of it. So I'm happy with Emerson. And I would be a little disappointed to see Ben Davies keep a spot in the center back position. I would. I think Emerson and Romero, they have a bit of a good relationship with each other. I think they are friends kind of in the team too. So maybe there's something with that they actually could hold each other accountable and have some real focus with each other. And they both love to get stuck in. They both love laying one on a player. So there could be that. They won't shy away from the challenge.
Look, you're right about the good relationship down that right-hand side when Emerson has been right back, Romero's been right-sided centre-back. They absolutely look after each other. So, it's not like they haven't played together before. And it'd be very easily replicated through the middle, in my opinion. But look, Dermo, you've sort of been up and down on this one all day. You even sort of alluded to it before we went live. Where are you at with it now, my man?
Look, I'm going to stick by what I said in my prediction on your show yesterday, Emerson. I picked Davies in my predicted lineup, and I sort of regretted that because of the mistakes he made against Aston Villa, Man City. He does it's a 100-minute game now, so you got to be switched on for 100 minutes. Emerson will give you that 100 minutes concentration. Davies doesn't, though. Davies did set on the go. There's good and bad in them both, Dave. I mean, we've got to give Emerson credit as well. We've been playing a back four of fullbacks. Emerson has come in and done a job for us.
I don't take the whole we've been playing a back four with fullbacks. Ben Davies has been playing centre back for Wales and for Tottenham all last season and for a couple of years. So he is a centre back. He was originally moved in from left back because he was shit out there.
Emerson's a fullback. He's not a centre back, and he's been doing a decent job. Yeah, he's been doing a really.
I do think the fullback argument is used to scapegoat, or not to scapegoat, just to give Davies another excuse.
Like
the last year or two.
Yeah, look, I'm not Davies' biggest fan. You know that. You know how I feel on Ben Davies. You know I don't think he's good enough. I've criticised him a lot the last couple of weeks of switching off. Even the other day I criticised him for switching off, costing us points. So you would start Emerson, but it's a hard one tonight. Jack is spot on. They do have a relationship. You said it to me earlier, Dave, which I didn't think of it that way, but they do have a relationship on that right side. So look, I start Emerson, put Davies on the bench. If you have to bring him on, bring him on. But I would start Emerson and Romero for me. I think that's the way to go, and I think Ange would do that as well.
Saying all of that, though, I do think Davies will probably start beside Romero tonight. But I would prefer Emerson. That would be my preference. Just quickly, and then we'll move on to Dark Sung G's talking point, and then the bottom duties as well. Postecoglou spoke on Dorington in the pre-match press conference as well. Very promising for all you guys who have backed me in my Dorington crusade, saying we've still got a lot of injuries, but we've got a lot of games ahead. So Alfie could get his chance in the weeks ahead. If Davies makes another error, his spot could be under pressure, because I think putting Dorington in beside Romero or putting Dorington in beside a Davies or Emerson is completely different. So it'll be interesting, but I would say potentially if Adorsey picks up a yellow tonight, you might see it against Newcastle with Ben Davies going out to left back. So interesting.
Very quickly on that, Dave, I'm massive on you about bringing in the kids, about starting the kids. Philip knows this well before he went on holiday. We had a disagreement. I mean, me starting the kids. I think they're good enough. If you're old enough, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Play them, because they will give you 100% all the time, every time. And I think we need to start putting these players like a Davies or like some of these players under pressure, thinking, hang on, you're not guaranteed to start here. There's people above you in the pecking order. We're going to use you if we have to, but start using these kids. We've got to. We've used them in the past. Let's do it again, because we have a great youngster, great under 21s as well. And Dorington, for me, get him in there. Just get him in there. Romero will look after him. He will follow Romero's lead. He's good enough. He's too good for the under 21s. He's Premier League rated for me.
I bet you were crying, Dave, hearing those sort of words about Dorington, because also with the hearing that Eric Dyer is going to be out for what sounded like a couple of weeks, or he said he's picked up this groin injury, take him a bit of time to get back from that. Then it'll take him a bit of time to get back into fitness and into the shape of things. He really gave Dyer this ambiguous, sort of 2 to 4 week sort of period to kind of make this recovery. But then Dorington, he was like, yeah, we expect to see him into the team soon. And him and Donnelly are part of the first team. He made a real emphasis of saying that they're part of the first team, or they're part of the squad, I think is what he was trying to say. And so I bet you're a proud father in that moment. Hearing Dyer out, Dorington in, you actually heard it in more or less in those sort of words.
I mean, look, I've been saying for so long, we have to progress on from these guys. And if we're not going to buy in the market, start giving these youngsters an opportunity. And we've made a big, massive switch, changed the whole payment structure to get a lot of these guys to commit long term. And it's about time we started going down that route. Absolutely a proud father. I mean, it brought such a tear to my eye to see Mr. Jamie Donnelly coming off the bench against Man City. Also, me, I had to go and give a message. Saying congratulations, big man, keep up the hard work, keep it going. There's going to be plenty more. And look, Dorington is another one that I've spotted, and I've done a video at the start of the season, and 2 out of 5 ain't bad whatsoever, is what I would say on that regard. So I really do hope he gets some minutes. I think he deserves it. Being brutally honest, I think he deserves it way over Dyer and Davies for quite some time. And Dyer out, which was also a huge blessing. I don't even care if people say I've got an agenda about it anymore. It's just shit. We all know it, so I'm not even just going to play about it anymore. It's just crap, and I want him gone. And big up Faz Radfar. I'm glad that someone actually understands what I'm trying to say when it comes to that. Just quickly, Jack, I've just got a missed call off Ben from Weird Tom TV, so I need to see what's going on over there. I'm going to leave you with Dark Sun G Super Chat, then the bottom duties, and then go to the very last question in the pre-match build-up about Hoybjerg and Gil. I'll be back in 2.
No worries. Dark Sun G saying refs and injuries and unlucky goal missed. Villa's Cash should have got a red card, and we could have scored, but we didn't. Wolves is Dyer's curse. Blues losing versus Madison, losing Madison, VDV, and Cootie. I think Dark Sun G is bringing up here, Philip, like how unlucky we've been in certain games. Not if it's been referees, injuries, just missing chances. Matty Cash, taking out Bentancur the moment that he was, brought back. It's like I sort of, maybe Dark Sun G sort of agreeing with me from earlier. Like in these defeats, I've actually found a lot of positives, and I've actually sort of scratched my head how we didn't even get anything out of the game because I thought we played pretty well in a lot of these games where we've lost.
We should have beat Villa. We should have been so far ahead of Villa after 20 minutes, and the rest of the game shouldn't have mattered. But we weren't. And I think the crucial thing was Son had a goal disallowed to make it 2-0. And then that would have been, whatever. But anyway, not to worry about that. I think we have been very unlucky. We lost the spine of our team. Van de Ven and Romero and Madison all gone in the same match. I think that was a crucial point. That's when the momentum stopped for a while. But now we're starting to get the players back in again. So I think the momentum will start again tonight. I think this is going to be the start of a run. And what better way to start than put the West Ham boys in their box, send them back off to East London with a tail between their legs, as has happened a lot of times when we play them. And let's just say that we know they won some sort of a cup last year, but we are still light years ahead of them in every aspect of our club. So let's just put them in their box tonight. And then we'll deal with Newcastle on Sunday, because they need a bit of a bring down to earth as well. They think they're above their station at the moment.
And despite all these setbacks that Dark Sun G is listed here, Philip, do you feel like that somehow the squad has gotten closer, or maybe more together? Perhaps they believe in each other more?
I think we've got the best team spirit at Spurs we've had for a long, long time. Going back to the Poch era, because when you saw the reactions when the late goals in the earlier games against Liverpool and Sheffield United, you saw the reaction on Sunday when Kulu scored the equaliser. Those boys would. I'll tell you one thing: if we went back to the First World War and they were all in the trenches, God help the Germans. That's all I'd say.
Do you agree with that, Dermot? That it's some of the best team spirit you've seen in a long time at Spurs?
Look,
and some of the best in the Premier League, maybe.
I think it's better than the Poch team spirit. I think this guy always say it's like what we had in the 80s under Birkinshaw. That's where I'm going with this. This is the best team spirit since then. Everyone's fighting for each other. Everyone's fighting for the badge. I was saying that last night I was saying it yesterday, actually, that I was talking about Man United and the situation happening there. And it's all about when you pull on that shirt, it should mean something to you. It should mean the world to you. That cockerel means everything to us. We are Tottenham Hotspur, not the players, not the managers, not the owners, us fans. So we're giving these players a lend of our club. They have to pull on that shirt, and it has to mean something to them. That cockerel means something to them. Forget all these players kissing badges. That's all bullshit. It doesn't mean anything to them, but it means everything to us. These games tonight it means a lot to Dave. It means a lot to Jack. It means a lot to Philip, myself. We want to beat West Ham as much as West Ham want to beat us. So these players tonight, one thing we ask of you is keep doing what you're doing. You're showing us the badge and the shirt means everything to you. Keep it going. And I think that there's more of a team spirit than there was in the Poch era. I really do. I look back at the Poch era and think, yeah, it was great, but we don't have now what we had then, if you know what I mean. We've got more team spirit, more never say die attitude. And it's going back to the 80s. He's a reincarnation of Bill Nick and Arthur Rowe rolled into one Postecoglou. And he's taken a bit of Berkshire as well. I think we should be so lucky. We're going to look back in these times and think, wow, what a time. What a time to be a Spurs fan. Because we are going to be successful. We are going to go to the promised land because Ange is going to take us there, starting tonight by bursting some bubbles and burning the dinosaur feck off because we don't like you.
There's definitely a togetherness to us, Dark Sunji. Really, and that's because of and after all these setbacks, somehow I feel like the squad has gotten even closer and they believe in each other even more. And once we're back full force or closer to even, half strength, even, I think this team will start, really, being that threat in the Premier League that we were before all those setbacks and everything. And then as well, he's just we'll get back to this one in just a second about him, Duda, but just because David is back and he was just sort of, chatting about this. Dark Sun G is saying, David, remember 2 years ago, we wanted to see youths. Now we do. This is all because we have a manager in Ange that actually trusts the youths, and we sold the Deadwood. I mean, it's something that you've been, like I said, Dave, crying out for years. Some youth kid in, Dyer out, and you were able to get it in Dorington, who's actually a terrific player. And we know it can be a real talent for us. But like I said, it was just something that finally you were able to hear, uttered, something finally you heard spoken by a manager.
Look, I'm over the moon. I mean, I think what Dark Sun G is alluding to is under Jose Mourinho. Look, in the modern era, we're guilty of thinking that every player wants to be here. Every player loves the club. They're out there trying. When in reality, over the last few years, they haven't. When my mother tunes in and says, Dave, they're not even trying a leg out there, and she hasn't an iota about football, that spells absolute issues, for me. And I'm of the opinion, okay, if you on 100 grand doesn't want to do it, go and play with the reserves. You right back in there. Come on up. We'll give you an opportunity and, go out there and try and reward yourself with a new contract and a pay rise and see if you can take it. We've been one of the only clubs down the last few years that refuse to give you an opportunity. Even Man City, with all the money they spend on players and everything else, even they give youths a chance. Even they're producing from their academy. Arsenal, their whole new sort of era came about by bringing in young players. Newcastle United, with a massive injury crisis, bringing in Lewis Miley, 17-year-old, into midfield, which is even more harder to play than centre-back in big games, and he goes out there and bosses it. Even teams lower down than us have given you an opportunity, but we don't. We come to a crossroads and we go, signpost, same old road or new direction, and we go, you know what, we're afraid of going in a new direction. We'll just head straight down the same old path that we know where it leads to. And I'm absolutely fed up with it. I'm delighted that Ange Postecoglou is changing that, and we're moving on with that. Big up, Dark Sun G, my man. Really do appreciate the support, brother. And then but I agree with you, Dark Sun G. Now it's finally happening, my man. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm sick of these overpaid superstars putting in crap performances, costing us games. It's just not good enough. Not good enough at all. But big up, brother. Really appreciate the support on that one. Jack, the bottom dude says, do you feel they have a better midfield? The midfield battle will be crucial.
Yeah, I think they do have a better fit midfield now with Alvarez in that team, the Mexican international. I like him. I think he's better than Souček at actually defending the back line and moving about in front of that back line to sort of, kind of clog up the spaces and make it difficult to sort of play in behind them or even try to play in front of that 18-yard box where the defenders are sitting quite deep. He does just a good job of sort of moving from side to side and being a really aggressive player in there. He's kind of nowhere near as good, I think, but still a good player, and is outright. But I think, he's a bit similar to Joao Palhinha over at Fulham in that he just sort of covers that little area right in front of the two center backs and does a very good job at defending them more or less on his own sometimes, kind of like Palhinha does. And I think Souček in the past wasn't really as good at that. He's, I think, a hard-working player, but he does look like he can get a bit tired or doesn't cover ground as quickly. or as aggressively, where I think he's actually a bit better to serve sometimes, making those sort of late runs into the box, kind of like Fellaini kind of used to, right? Maybe way back in the day, sort of kind of like one of those type of players, where I think making those late runs like McTominay even does sort of for Man United, I think that's what Souček's actually a bit better at. And so, yeah, their midfield has improved. And James Ward-Prowse, great player. Kudus, great player. Paqueta, starting to look a lot better, too, this season. He's a good player when he's on his day. Maybe right now with all the injuries, perhaps you could say maybe they have a better midfield, but I still really like ours. Like, I wouldn't say ours is so bad that I'm not worried. Like, I think ours can still definitely stand toe-to-toe with theirs, even if theirs might be slightly better in certain ways. But you could say theirs is more physical for sure. They definitely have a more physical midfield than ours.
For sure. Definitely a more physical midfield. I'm going to answer this question. This is the last question of the evening. And for me, it's the big one today. Does Gill deserve another chance and another opportunity to show what he can do on the left wing after a disappointing display at City? Or does Hoybjerg deserve to start after helping to change the match at the Etihad on Sunday? Because either choice will sort of dictate the rest of the lineup. So, Philip, you sort of gave us yours earlier. You would rather Hoybjerg come in, which I actually agree with. I think, if we're going about a meritocracy, and I'm one of them, I've always, substitutions at Tottenham haven't really made an impact over the last few years, which have annoyed me. And I've always said, it's an opportunity that you should take. So I'm delighted that Hoybjerg took that opportunity. I believe he should be rewarded personally. Jack, where are you at with that?
Personally, I think Hoybjerg, on the basis of merit, and you said this in the pre-match thoughts, Dave, and you convinced me of it. With the meritocracy, Hoybjerg probably should be given the start. I did say on a tactical level, I think Bissouma should. I think he would actually probably be better suited against this West Ham team, and maybe Hoybjerg can sit on the bench and make more of an impact. I'm happy with either situation because I think both make sense. So I don't know how strong of an opinion I now have on it, because you really did convince me yesterday, actually, with the whole meritocracy thing. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of fair. Probably should be that way at the end of the day. But if I were just thinking about on a tactical level, I'd rather it be Bissouma, and then Hoybjerg can come on and do whatever Ange needs him to, which, like I sort of said, he's always been able to do. He's always been able to execute whatever sort of mid-game sort of change or tactical switch up that Ange has been going for. Hoybjerg has usually been that guy that he leans on.
Absolutely spot on. Philip, I know you have to go, my man, so we're going to let you go. What's your score prediction for tonight? What are you going in?
I'm hoping 3-0, but I'm more likely to go for a 2-1. I'll take anything as long as it's a win.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully it is a win. And look, give yourself a plug. What's coming up on THFC till I die?
I'll allow Dermot to answer that one, because having been out with the loop a little bit more, I'm only getting back in now. So Dermot will be able to answer that better than me. So
no worries.
All right,
no
Dermot.
worries.
Good to see you, Philip.
Indeed, good to be back, lads.
Great to have you back, my man.
Let's hope for a good performance as well as a win tonight.
Definitely.
I really do hope so, my man. I really do hope so. Thank you very much, Philip. We'll speak again.
See you later.
Very soon.
See you later, boss.
Dermatron, just quickly to yourself, my man. Hoybjerg or Gill tonight?
Look, I think Hoybjerg needs to start tonight. I think he deserves to start. I think he did very well in the second half against Man City. And Hoybjerg's a type of player, he's not everyone's cup of tea. But when you ask him to do a job, he will do it for you. He never let us down much during the Mourinho or Conte or Nuno days. He always gave 100%. I always say that if you're going into battle and you want somebody to back you up in the trenches, Hoybjerg is your man. Look, I love Gil Messi. I think Johnson probably would be better to start instead of Hill, but bringing Hill on with 20 minutes to go. But I think you've got to keep using him. You've got to keep bringing him on. If you're not going to start him, bring him on. Let him get used to the Premiership. Give him a run of games. But look, I love Gil Messi. I think it's great. But for me, be Hoybjerg and Johnson to start, and bring Hill and bring Hill on to 20 minutes to go. And also, I think Bissouma needs an arm around his shoulder to remind him he is a good player. He is a very good player. So get behind him tonight, guys, who you're going. Give him an extra cheer, because I think he deserves it. Bless him.
And just quickly, Dermo, what's coming up on the channel, my man?
Yeah, we've got a lot of things coming up. We've got the watch along tonight, of course, Tottenham West Ham. We've got the post-match show tomorrow with the Premier League review. Premier Saturday's back this weekend, where we're going to give you all the latest on all the Premier League games. We've got watch alongs as well, and we've got a pre-record I'm doing next week, hopefully with you guys, and Mia's coming on with Philip, where we're going to go over the last year at Spurs and get our thoughts how 2023's been like, and also we've got a lot. The channel's gone through a whole. A major revamp for the start of the new year. Some new graphics, new backgrounds, new everything. So we're going to, by the 1st of January, we will be cooking. So please hit the like button on there and get us to 2K. That's our march at the moment, and do it up as well for these guys. Thank you very much for having me on, Dave. Love coming on.
I appreciate that, Tron. Really do appreciate that, my man. Everyone, please get over and check out THFC Till I Die if you do enjoy these pub-ups. I'll just have my quick say on this, and then I do have to bow out, and then Jack will end off with Dark Sun G and Faz Radfire as well, and he'll play one little tune for you, and then get you pumped for the game, and then Jack will end it off. But he says, remember the dross games with weak spirits under Jose and Conte, when all of our players blaming each other and players not running back for the team. Leadership group is the reason our mentality is strong, and I absolutely 100% agree with that. It's something that me and Jack sort of first started speaking about midway sort of through last season, that the leadership is all wrong, within that dressing room. That's why you were seeing everyone throwing arms up at each other, pointing at each other. No one actually really wanted to take any responsibility whatsoever. I'm not running for each other. When you don't have that, that just means the leadership in the dressing room is wrong. It's not always just on the manager to bring the players together. The leaders within the squad, it's also on them as well. It's also their responsibility to do that, Dark Sun G. And we just never did. So I'm glad that we are getting that back now with Son, Romero, Madison as the leadership group. And it is showing on the pitch, right? You're seeing everyone running for each other, regardless of the results. Everyone is playing for everyone. I think that's one of the biggest things I can say about that. But guys, that's it from myself. I will see you back here on the watch along at 7:45 this evening. Jack, over to you, my man. Dermo, I'll send that link on to you just in one moment, my man. All right. See you, everyone.
Come on, Dave. We'll see you later.
My score prediction is 3-1. Let's go.
Come on, 3-1. We'll take that. Well done today, Dave. We'll see you later, sir. Have a good one. Dark Sun G, I got so infuriated, man, on so many occasions last season, especially I think with Lloris. I think he was most guilty of this, throwing his arms up at players after making a mistake himself, or being pretty accountable for some of the goals that we ended up conceding. Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, I think both pretty guilty of this, where they would just throw their arms up when they were pretty heavily involved in whatever sort of shit show we were watching when it came to that defense. And it was a 60-plus goal conceding defense, right? And to watch them just continuously throw their arms up at each other and make these faces and this sort of type of behavior, I just couldn't stand for it. It really did piss me off, actually, on a lot of occasions, because I think when you are going down and when you're not having a good season, or let's just say it's just not going your way and things are really not, let's say hopeful or positive, when certain guys like that try to sort of throw their arms up and maybe remove themselves, from sort of the situation and try to maybe deflect it onto others, I just find that to be a bad trait. And I just got really angry at times with some of those players from last season. It's probably why I have such a bias against them and such a bias towards them. But it's just because I think some of the behavior that they did have in sort of those moments when we had a really weak mentality and when we were conceding goals and just when we were playing terrible football, but they just really tried to remove themselves or make it look like it was others. And they just, anytime they would make a sideways pass, they would throw their arms up at somebody, but they were the one that were making sideways passes for 90% of the game. And it's just, it did get me really frustrated to have Dark Sun G. And I'm glad that the leadership we have now does seem to be a lot stronger. They hold each other accountable. They're willing to yell at each other, but they also seem to have this sort of friendship and this bond with each other as well that I'm really behind. And I just genuinely like a lot of the players in this team now. Really do. Like, I think they seem to be cool guys, and as well as have just an elite mentality in a lot of cases. Pedro Porro, Emerson, absolutely elite mentalities in their cases, and plenty more I would say that about as well. So really do love a lot of these players.
Yeah, I too, Jack. Look, very quickly for me, if you look under them dark days under Jose and Conte, there was the blame factor. Everyone was blaming everyone else. The manager would blame the players. The players then would start blaming each other. There was no accountability. There was no, look, I made a mistake, I own it. And I think under Ange he's brought in a philosophy of, look, if you make a mistake, it's your mistake. But you look at Sonny as captain, he leads by example. He never stopped on Sunday. He ran from minute 1 to minute 99. And he may not be a big speaker, but that's how you lead by example. And that rubs off on the team. The players, this squad we've got under Poch is a squad that will take responsibility, will own their own mistakes. And I think that's a great thing with us. And there is leaders in this team now. Romero, Maddison, Sonny. We've got more than one captain on that field that will bark an order, that will have a go at each other. And I think that's great. And we also got a goalkeeper that speaks his mind as well.
Yes.
Who will shout at the defenders. So, yeah, big. I agree with that 100%. It's so refreshing to see that, Jack. You and me got so angry. You and me got so angry last season with it all. And so
part of it is with the leadership group too that he mentions there, and switching over to Sonny as well as Romero, James Maddison, all of them. I think that's just helped us out tremendously in triggering this sort of culture change as well as this mentality change across the whole squad. Ange, I completely agree with you, my man. And then he also says if we still had Winks and Sanchez, no Dorington and Donnelly. In the case of Winks too, he actually takes up one of those homegrown spots in the team and in the squad that we sort of used him as a bit of a pawn, I think, in the homegrown sort of scheme, Ange. But I think it then led to maybe other players that perhaps were better than Harry Winks. I think then, not getting the game time or not getting maybe the opportunities that they could have. But I look at this academy now and there's so many brilliant players that I'm looking forward to seeing given a chance. And I just hope that Ange, as well as the just sort of guys that are behind, Johan Lang and Paratici, that recruitment team, that scouting team, the guys that sort of help with the integration of the academy and the first team. I think there are a few roles that are a part of that. I hope that they really handle this younger generation in the best sort of way, because there's so many talented players in that. And when you even look at some of the England under 21 games, some of the England under 18 games, a lot of the players there are Spurs players, are in our academy, and there's something that we're brewing over here, Ange, that we really should take advantage of. And we can't have guys like Sanchez or Winks playing and ahead of them and taking away those minutes. And that's why I'm looking forward to Dorington too. Really looking forward to seeing him given that chance, as well as Donnelly. And he had a clearance, Ange. He had a clearance, Jamie Donnelly. He got a foot on it, or he put his body in front of it, and that's where it all starts with the young kids. You got to sub them on in the 90th minute just to get stuck in for a couple of seconds, and he was able to get involved for sure. And then Fazzy Radfar, 3-1 Spurs, saying we can beat West Ham 12-0 and go fourth. Big up, come on you Spurs. Big up to you, Faz. And I would say to you, a lot of people are going to that 3-1 prediction. I've heard the 3-1 more times than I can count, Dermot. And I think the bookies might be sucked dry tonight if that 3-1 prediction comes in, because everyone has said it. Or they could be, making a lot of money because everyone might get it wrong if it's not a 3-1.
Look, I'm going for 4-0. Can we go with fourth? I think we'll stay fifth if we win tonight, won't we? Because of Villa winning last night. I think we stay fifth.
Maybe we could go in, or I'm not sure.
I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
I know, but yeah, I'm going for 4-0. Come on, we can do this. Tottenham tonight will win. That's no doubt. I want to put Jack in a good mood for the rest of his day. Want him to see him skipping down New York Broadway with his Hoybjerg shirt and his Richarlison top of gun, shouting, "Come on, you Spurs!" in the middle of Times Square. That's what I want to see. I want Jack to be like that today. So let's put Jack in a good mood, happy mood, and let him skip around his apartment. His missus looking at him. What are you doing, Jack? I'm skipping around because I'm absolutely happy we've battered West Ham. We smashed the Hammers with our hammer. So come on, you Spurs.
Would love to be skipping down with a 3-1, any sort of win of any kind tonight.
A win is a win.
Just love to see another win and start climbing back up that table. And with more players that come back from injury and everything, start to look at that original force that we were, Faz Radfar. But a lot of people are going for your 3-1 prediction, your famous 3-1 prediction, the one you always usually go for, Faz Radfar. So a 12-0 though, I'd also take that. Definitely would take that one. Dono Vision, good to see you, sir. Saying 4-0. He's gone for that one. Sonny Johnson, Pedro Porro, Lo Celso, Cudi to redeem himself by bringing some stability back to that makeshift backline. Dono Vision, I hope the workout went well, sir. And I was able to do some push-ups this morning, and was able to do some Russian twists, and did a bit more of a core workout kind of this morning while I was watching some Talk Sport. But wasn't able to go on the run or really do anything that I kind of wanted to, because I've actually misplaced my AirPods recently. So I kind of do need a bit of a podcast or something around in the background to be listening to when I'm going on my run. So sort of just was watching some TV while doing some push-ups and some sit-ups and whatnot. So hopefully you had at least a better workout than I did. Mine was actually quite depressing and quite sort of lonely this morning, but good to see you in the house, sir. And I hope that we were able to provide you some hype or some sort of comfort, during yours, my man. Always good to see you, Donavision. Good to see you as well. Who is it? Bald Bean Counter, the head of he's at the top of the table when it comes to our fantasy league. So we have to bow down to him, and maybe we'll bow down to Dermatron at the end of this game, because Dermatron, if you get your prediction right for this West Ham game, you could get 2 predictions in a row. So maybe we'll have to start bowing down to you. Before we end off things, can you give yourself maybe another plug, if you haven't, for THFC Till I Die?
Yeah, if you like what I have to say, you can find me and Philip over at THFC Till I Die, home of Tottenham, past, present, and exciting future under Ange. We've got everything over there. The channel is going to go over a bit of a revamp over Christmas for the start of the new year. We've got the Cockle Crop podcast, the roundtable discussion. We've got pre-match, post-match. We've got Premier Saturday watch-alongs, not just for Spurs, watch-alongs for the whole Premier League as well. We're covering every game. We have been the last couple of nights. And just come over, get us up to 2K, and that would, if I can get to 2K by my birthday in February, that would be the biggest birthday present for me. I never thought I'd even get to 1,000. So to be on the march for 2K, it's really unbelievable. So thank you, everyone. But please do it here first. Help Jack, hit Dave, hit 13K. I need to jump off, Jack, because I'm going over to Dave on We Are Tottenham TV. So come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. See you later, Dermatron.
See you later. See you later.
Have a good one, my man.
You too, man.
Enjoy yourself.
I will do. Bye-bye.
Everybody, head on over to THFC Till I Die. Please check out all the content from the Dermatron. Just going to sort of wrap up things over here. Maybe a few more comments if anybody have them. Ian Ferguson, always good to see you, sir. He's gone for a 3-2. Tyler saying, I think Sarr might be in the squad. Would be, very useful to have him in the squad. I'm not sure if I see him starting. I'm thinking we're going to go for the same midfield we did last time, with maybe a change in Hoybjerg or Basuma. But I don't see Postecoglou actually changing up the Gio Lo Celso Kulusevski thing right now. I think it's been working for us, and maybe he gives another chance then for Brian Hill with that. But good to see so many of you guys in the house today. Really do appreciate the support throughout the show, as well as everybody that's just been kind of chatting with each other, chatting with myself throughout kind of the pre-match build-up. And we're getting ready for this bubble blowing match indeed, but really do appreciate everybody, and appreciate Martin Knightsbridge, Dark Sun G, Debottom Duda, Fazzy Radfard towards the end there, Moondog, as well as Sean Maddox celebrating 3 months as a member. Big up to you, Sean. Let me know if, Sean, you're still listening. Let me know where you're watching the game, sir. The Big D, as well as plenty of others that have supported the channel today. We really do appreciate it. It does go a long way in keeping this channel going and keeping it kind of as regular as we try to go, and all that sort of good stuff. And as well, if you do want to become a member, feel free to do so. There's a big join button, and becoming a member is just a great way to get even closer to, I think, Dave and myself. We have our own fantasy league that you can get part of, get some extra videos as well that only are available to the members. Sometimes with the podcast, we'll do something kind of special there too. So there's plenty of things to take advantage of in that regard as well. But really do appreciate all of you that have tuned in at any stage during the show. Big up to Kerry King. Good to see you as well. Hopefully you're getting ready for this one, Kerry. As well as we have a Bald Bean Counter with in the words of Lucas Moore, Kois, Niranjan Pundit. Hopefully you're all right. And I think we'll end things off there. Really, again, appreciate everybody that's tuned in at any stage. Smash that like button if you haven't on your way out. We don't usually ask for that. But I think I'll end it there, everybody. Come on, you Spurs. In the Big Ange we trust. We never stop. I'll be seeing you. See you for the watch along, everybody. And I think about 30 minutes time or so. Everywhere we go.